This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
Lord have mercy. Welcome back, gentle audience. Welcome back, Trey.
Thank you.
Where do we pick up?
Does it feel weird to be in the chairs right now?
It does.
It feels like we should be in conflict right now.
It does. And I'm like, we need to, almost as loving community members with our audience, I don't think it's good to just launch in here. I think we kind of need to take them through where we've been since the last recording.
Wouldn't that be a version of launching into this?
Sure. I mean, with like, it's all, and this is why we even wanted to do the messy middle, because we do have belief and faith in our tools and our community and our helpers. Mm-hmm. And so we believed with full confidence that we would get to this day, mm-hmm. but we knew that we needed to do some middle stuff.
What is this day? What do you mean by this day?
A day where, there's some smiles on our faces, cool. And I'm not afraid to touch you, mm-hmm. or be touched by you.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're on the other side of it.
Yeah, the close other side of it. Yeah, mm-hmm. I don't feel like we're far away from it, but I do feel like we're on the other side of it.
And I don't think the middle was messy.
Why so? Tell us.
I thought it was exactly like how the middle, I wouldn't describe it as messy. I wouldn't describe your feelings as messy. I wouldn't describe my, what I was doing as messy. I thought it was very intentional. And looking back, because it's so much easier to look at it as an observer.
Oh my God. Yes.
Versus on the ground.
Yes.
Messy is not how I describe it.
Okay.
But if you want to describe it that way, I'm not going to argue with you or take your voice.
Good job. Okay.
Because
you're a reformed man. Okay, here's a thing I want to ask then. What would you call a gardener, mm-hmm. right? Because a gardener gets dirty through their work. But you're right, I wouldn't call that messy. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, you're such a mess. If a gardener came in from a long day planting or tilling the soil, what would you say? Because I do think that there was an element, we even said mess many times on that podcast, the little one we did. We said mess. So I love this 2020 vision that you have right now, this hindsight vision, but it is something. It's hard. It's grueling. It's beautiful in the same way that I think a gardener who knows that the effort they're putting in during tilling or planting, that it's worthwhile work. That important work.
Okay, I do the majority of our outdoor gardening, mm-hmm. or leaves or cleanup or lawn care. Yeah. How does it feel after 2 or 3 hours out there? It feels very gratifying. Mm-hmm. I am literally dirty. I have soil and stuff on my hands. I have to get most of it off before I enter the house and go upstairs to take a shower. But once I take a shower and I get clean, sometimes I'll reward myself with a beer. Or just chilling. And then it's a really good feeling. I work with my thumbs and my fingers as far as how I make a living. It's not as rewarding as going outside and doing stuff in the dirt, or I pulled one of our cars out of the snow and it took hours and hours and it took trial and error, and at the end of it, it was like, holy shit, I am a good type of tired. So it's very gratifying doing that work, being dirty, getting clean, and then chilling.
Yeah. It's worthy.
Catch a movie, catch a beer, maybe take an edible. Catch a quick masturbatory practice.
Okay, let's stay on topic.
How's that not on topic?
It's not on topic.
This is a sign of healing when I argue with Lauren.
Okay. We're coming back. I want to hear. Blah. Okay, so last we left off, I think you had just had your session. We hadn't touched. We hadn't kissed. I really, really want to talk about.
Are we talking about last podcast?
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of touching at night.
Oh, that's right. You had rubbed my back.
Yeah, and then you did requests, and we titrated touching. So we sprinkled a little in, and then we went as slow as the slowest part. Our last podcast was Friday. I met with my person Wednesday morning.
Okay. Friday or yeah. Okay. Then we got on a plane. And we went and visited one of our friends. And so what I would love to spend time talking about today was space, how that was uncomfortable to just be in my own feelings. I want to talk about being witnessed in community in the yuck while we repaired and what that provided each of us individually and collectively. I want to talk about the necessary leaning on our professionals, our helpers. I want to talk about play and joy and pleasure, getting to be a part of it when it is time.
Permission to repeat ourselves, because a lot of this stuff we may have said in the previous 2 podcasts. So I want permission to repeat myself. I'm just saying it out loud for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we had a session with our incredible coach and therapist yesterday. And one of the things she was saying to me was, sounds like you really allowed yourself to be witnessed in this. And why that is so tremendously impactful for me is for a decade, which we referenced, I think, on podcast 1 and 2. I would be harmed very similarly to this. I would be told such similar things by my first husband that, my business was only because of him, or that I was failing the house by doing this, that, or the other thing. And that is also how I was raised, that a woman's space is in the home. And so the thing that was very different about this one was staying in community and staying authentic and being witnessed through this whole thing. No one needed to fix it. Wasn't anybody's job. I mean, Uncle Jay was with me when everything went down. I was honest with him. He saw the help text come in. He saw me right after we'd had the conversation. He saw me on Monday and on Tuesday. So witnessed, fully in community. I didn't hide anything from him. Wasn't his job to fix, but I didn't hide anything. And then, friends were in the loop from the very beginning. Dr. Hamilton she was by my side starting on Monday. You had a session on Wednesday. Just consistent. You've been reaching out to people in a way that I think one of the things that this show put my magnifying glass, not a microphoning glass, a magnifying glass on, was, and you'd been saying it already, but your desire for some deeper, you have a lot of incredible gay male friends, like a lot of them. Not a lot of, as deep, you have a lot of beautiful straight male friends, but the relationships don't go as deep or as vulnerable as your relationships with our dear gay friends. And you had already been naming this before we even hit this point of critical mass. But I have seen you reach out and still following up with and have scheduled times with some of these men that you respect in your life, that you had already wanted nearby. But this, you reached out to community was my point. Was, nope, I need more. I want more. I deserve more. Amazing. Yeah. And then when we chose to still go on our Florida vacation, we were meeting one of our dearest friends in the world, and she has relational trauma too. Shocker. Like we all do. And we chose to be honest with her about where we were in our relationship and say, you do not need to fix this, but this is how we're showing up. And so for me to get to be witnessed by another woman, friends, as I was healing from a quote unquote feminine wound, one of the most beautiful things in the world. There were even a few times I like stood up, challenge your phrasing of something, or didn't back down. And I'll never forget, you went to the bathroom after I kind of like was less tolerant. And she said, that was really healing for me. And I said, what? And she said, to see you disagree with kindness, stand up for what you know, and challenge his wording on something.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
We were talking about a mutual friend, and that mutual friend is a female, and she recently had a romantic encounter, and my phrasing was asking about the man, did he make her come?
I don't like that phrasing. Clients know that I deeply believe that our pleasure belongs to us, and orgasm and pleasure are a physiological experience within ourselves. We don't give or receive pleasure. What we can give is time and attention, and if requested, touch. And this archaic idea that a man comes in and gives an orgasm makes her come. Ugh. I knew Trey's heart behind it. Go ahead.
It's from a place of like, did he prioritize her?
Of course.
And the updated phrasing is, did she have a enjoyable sexual experience? And I received the feedback, and I was curious about it, and I need to update my vocabulary on certain things for a lot of different reasons. And one of the main reasons is I don't want to get left behind.
Huh.
And, yeah. Yeah, things need to get updated. That has been an awakening for this whole thing.
Huh.
That the way of thinking and the way of not thinking, and a lot of things need to get updated from me. So I really want to be open to that and curious to that. And I don't want to be defensive, or I don't want to be righteous. So, thank you.
You know what it just made me think of is anytime a piece of our technology gets an update. My Remarkable, for those who don't know, I have this Remarkable. It's a writing tablet. It's my favorite piece of tech on earth. It's gotten so many updates recently. Why? Because it doesn't want to be left behind.
I think of the library card. You and I would have to put our last names on a piece of paper, and then if that side filled up, you'd flip it over. And then I think the librarians would highlight it if the book got whatever their system was. It was pen and paper. Cool. It's not done that way anymore. Maybe it is. I don't know.
No.
It's not my business how people do, how librarians do. I could ask questions too if I really want to get curious.
Even our iPhones have updates, right? To think that, and we've said this so many times in these chairs, that like how we used to do it is how we should always do it. That is dangerous rhetoric.
In sport, which I came from, you show me a coach that says this, we've been doing it this way a long time, I'll most likely show you a coach with a losing record.
There gets to be comfort in long-term relationship, and yet one of the most dangerous and toxic things we can do is try to hold one of the partners back. We cannot do it. There is all kinds of internal desire, internal nervous system responses that are primal, that want to do that, right? It's like, no, don't go, stay with me, right? It's like this fight against disconnection. And I so honor that. And yet, developmentally, we're meant to grow. And the way in which long-term partnership can be so fantastic is that when one grows, we're like, ooh, let's do this. Now, is that usually accompanied by something like what we just went through? Yeah. Schnark, which is a book Dr. Hamilton suggested to you too, talks about disillusionment, seasons of disillusionment, where we've kind of been living under one illusion, and our wonderful Dr. Hamilton said just yesterday, Lauren, this is next year, it'll be another one, right? Like, this is long-term partnership. The shedding of old disillusionments, the shedding of old patterns, old ways of thinking, old ways of being in relationship. And if we want it to, something like marriage, something like a chosen partnership, can hold a mirror up to us, which is what I feel like you got to see here. And let us see these things. You kept saying it on podcast 1 and podcast 2. Lauren, this has nothing to do with you. You, in essence, just held a mirror up to me. And you let me see all of the shit that was going on beneath the surface that before I hadn't looked at. Yes. What it feels like is, it's everything about me. What it feels like is some type of control of me or some type of desire to keep me, in this instance, small and sedentary and less and, yeah, wild.
So all those things that I said about you that weren't about you, that weren't true, seeped into your bones.
Seep deep.
And how's it doing now? Is it still there? And if so, how much? Or is it all gone? Or is some of it going to stay there because it's important? Mm-hmm. Where are you at with all that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of it feels important to stay. Because I also don't want to be in love with a fictitious prince. I want to be in love with a real man who makes mistakes, owns them, takes accountability, grows. And so I think something really interesting is shifting in me and this is why I think on podcast 1, I said that if I was sitting here with a couple who'd been together as long as us, we're year 7-ish, right? Like we are on the cusp of year 7. Crazy shit happens. And it's beautiful if we let it be. I don't want you to ever feel you need to be some perfect storybook character. And so there feels something in my bones that has sunk deeply that he is a real man, which needs you to be a real woman too. Strong queen who knows her territory and her kingdom. A strong, planted, wise woman who trusts her own words, her own guidance, her own path. You don't know. You don't give him more than is his to carry. You do not. There have been times before where I have literally shook with, if he wasn't here, I couldn't do this. Because you infuse me with so much life and joy and pleasure and magic. And there is a fine line between that and the princess in a tower, you making life too easy for me, you being this mercenary, this, no, right? I am all of me. And I want to love you for who you are, which is wonderful and amazing. And I never, ever want you to feel that you can't make a mistake. So something feels very important I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts this morning. They were telling the story of the princess and the pea. They're big on archetypes. So is our Dr. Hamilton. And it's just talking about how she's a real princess. This whole idea. I want you to get to be my real partner. And I think the ways in which I contribute, are fascinating. The ways in which we feed off of each other's old wounds and kind of, like that's why we're attracted to partners. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with us. And I don't want that for you. And I don't want that for me. Don't want it for me. And so I think One of the reasons why it was so deeply wounding is that it was so unexpected. Which, no, I don't want this to be misconstrued as, oh, I want to just believe that Trey's going to wound me more. No, absolutely not. But I want it to penetrate less. And Dr. Hamilton was just so like, Lauren, why is this like 80% sadness, 20% rage? This should be way more rage if you do not speak to me like that. What the actual fuck? None of that is true. Where is this coming from? That's your shit. Call me back when you can figure that out. Right? That is what it should have been. Instead, I just like was stabbed all over my body. I think because I had done some like projecting, right? This persona of perfection onto you. You can't do that. It's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for me. So the piece that I feel like I want to retain is seeing you with clear eyes as a human. It's like my favorite human, but as a human. The pieces that I feel falling away, I think that was your other question. Yeah, are those bits, the lie pieces that I really was believing in the beginning, like that I was a really bad partner, that I was prioritizing everyone else over you. I think the lies are fading away, which feels really good. Especially because it's one of my greatest joys on earth to care for you. And so that like, it just felt so wrong, but I accepted it as truth. And so I feel like I'm extra noticing the ways in which I care for you, and they feel very true and right and good and beautiful.
I know you're working with rage right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was funny.
My hope for you, how you felt 80% sadness, 20% rage, and Dr. Jolie said you need to feel 80% rage, 20% sadness. I understand you're working with rage. It's fire. I know. My hope for you is it becomes 80% deflected. Like a flick. Like this, like, fuck that. Like, no, fuck that. Like it just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. I receive that.
While supporting you, working on getting the rage muscle stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is coming from someone who needs the rage muscle less strong.
Yeah. That was one of the images I had too of last Monday, of kind of drawing the drawbridge up and going, no. Like, no.
Good.
In this kingdom, right, we celebrate respect and love and joy and abundance and pleasure and play. And we don't do that. We don't do that here. No.
Good.
And it's funny. It's like that, sadness, those all come, it just comes so much easier to me. What I do not have a lot of access to is fire, which is interesting because yesterday started the year with the fire horse, which is just funny that you bring up fire. Why do you think, or what gifts are you starting to glean from this? What treasures?
The gift of play. Dr. Jolie said you can't do this like a tactician or like you're checking things off of a list. You can't do this as an adult or like an observer. You need to find the play in doing all of this work. So I've been trying to sprinkle play onto everything. Play. Do this work in play, and it's been so much more enjoyable. The gift of having early warning detection alarms in place on my own thoughts and my own patterns and my own tendencies to tell stories in my mind. And then one of the biggest ones for me is this story like serving me or protecting me? And is it bringing me peace or is it bringing me discomfort? Oh, and then no stories, please. Even good or bad, sometimes I'll just be like, no, not right now, no stories. So having a calm, clear mind, like a whiteboard, like a dry erase whiteboard. God bless. If you've never cleaned a dry erase whiteboard, what are you doing? You get the good rubbing alcohol and a cloth, and then it looks like new. All the smudges are off. Yeah, having a mind like that. Over communicating right now. Over communicating with you. Not even waiting to share like ouches or boo-boos at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And then sharing the ones, because I get in trouble with, I can kind of justify those things away. Or tell the lie of like, Lauren, that doesn't need to be brought up to Lauren. Or she can't handle it right now because she had a hard day. Those are the gifts. Reaching out to men. Mm-hmm. Men that I want. It's a very short list. A lot of the men in my life that I've known ever since my 20s, they're still doing the things that they did in their 20s. And they're kind of in a rut, and they're wondering why things aren't working out for them. Those guys in my life, I mean, but it just needs to stay on the surface. I can't talk about these things. So just expanding my circle because you got to reach out to your people. And also, like, some of it was just cathartic where it's like, hey, I just need you to listen to this. I don't really need advice. So just expanding my circle of men that I can talk about in more depth, like these things. And actually straight partnered men. Because I do have a beautiful harem of gay men. But I need some straights. What else? Oh, the preciousness of my life in relationship with you. And how you smell and how you look and how you feel. And, the difference between me being connected to you and you feeling very disconnected from me. Like, boy, what a treat that's been.
Say more.
Well, it's like taking away coffee for a week and then you have your first sip. And you're like, holy shit. So you're my coffee. You're hot. Black. Dark. So, yeah.
How did it feel internally to hold fast in yourself while I was hurting, grieving, healing, and had no ability to be like physical, like do what we're doing right now, which is holding hands?
Well, I knew it's what I needed to do, so I fell back to when I first started learning about relationships. You need to own it. You need to be your rock. And you need to stand in the storm. And it was sobering, and I went through the phases of I caused the storm. I went through the shame phase. Yeah. Shame phase was probably the fastest. Yeah. Because the way to get out of shame is action and acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this, but one of the cycles that would happen in my first marriage was I would be wounded in partnership, but then my ex-husband would stay in the shame space and would become the victim who had wounded, like felt so miserable about how he had wounded me that he would then require comfort from me. So I would be wounded, but then I would need to be the nurturer. This comes from the way in which his own father would abuse him. And so his father would abuse him and then cry and feel badly about it. And so then my ex-husband would then have to comfort his father. So this was a learned behavior.
It's a very common abuse cycle, right?
Very common abuse cycle. And usually learned and patterned by our initial caregivers. Mm-hmm. I need everyone to know that is a reason, not an excuse. So it was another wild renegotiation of trauma for me to be wounded, and then for my wounder to take accountability, and say, you take as long as you need. Everybody can go back and watch the tape. That is what you said consistently, which I think I said on the last podcast was the most wild out of body experience. And I would talk to the baby about it.
I said it. Did I do it?
Yes.
Okay.
And showed me with it was like getting clearer glasses too on just old codependent tendencies in my body as well. Because when you're not, you know how we talked before about, I'm a 6 numerologically. And so 6s are great at gardening, but what they tend to do is meddle in other people's gardens. And so the baby for a while would be like, stop meddling in our gardens, like go do your thing. And so not to have to tend to your garden, to see you actively reaching out to men in partnerships, to see you actively reaching out to your therapist, to see you actively going on walks, playing, journaling, coming to me with what you were learning, actively listening to the books that Dr. Hamilton was prescribed. Like, I was like, not my garden to tend, so I have to tend mine. And what is fascinating about codependent behaviors is this need to be needed. And so I don't think maybe ever in the history of my life, and I'm a 40-year-old woman, that I've been wounded that deeply and then been allowed to, given space to heal in my own time while a partner just said, I'm here. I've got you. What do you need? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since on this podcast, we talk about sex a lot, and we've had podcast episodes where we've talked about the female urge often in a heteronormative relationship to give sex to her husband so he's a nicer person, so he has a better attitude, right? We've talked about your tingle time and that if we had sex every morning, you would be jollier. Like, you love sex every morning. You would have sex with me every morning.
Generally.
Generally sweeping. But we have talked about this, that we know where it comes from because you love sex. Great. And you have spontaneous sexual desire. Great. Like, you see me, you see me want sex, generally. Can we talk about where in your body you put penetrative sex, where in the body you put touch during the season of healing? Because I never felt pressured, ever, for like, why don't you want me? Or like, never felt pouty, never felt rushed in that department, never felt judged for not wanting you.
Huh?
Yeah. Where did you put that, or how did you support me through that?
That was part of you get to come back in your own time, or you get to all the space that you need. And then again, like what I learned at a fundamental level when I started learning about like dating and relationship and long-term relationship was like, when a woman touches you, that's permission to touch her. And then we have the tools through the wheel and consent, artists giving and receiving of, in a 3-minute game, we have the ability to ask through a may I. May I touch your back? May I put my hand here?
Yep.
So we can make offers, we can make requests, and then also we can say yes, we can say no, or renegotiate.
Yeah.
We repeat it a lot, slow is the slowest part.
Yeah, so often.
So you got to go back to the champions practice layups.
Yeah.
And free throws and ground balls and just catching a ball. Yeah. So you have to go back to relational fundamentals. Yeah,
there were a lot of offers put forward.
And low stakes offers too.
Sure. And I feel like I should tell the audience this. There would be times when I would go, oh yeah, no, that does sound nice. And then the next morning, no again.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said something about that early on, that it could kind of ebb and flow too, right? This healing process.
Even today it can ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Like old feelings may run hot.
Yeah.
They're allowed to. You were saying you still feel sadness this morning?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. You get to make your own choices when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stay in it, if you want to push past it, hell, if you want to bypass it, you get to make those choices.
Yeah.
I'm truly not here to tell you what to do and how to heal. I can request to be invited in, or you can invite me in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my job. Just like it's not your job to get me resourced.
Yeah.
And you know what it does, like selfishly?
What?
Dries up the pussy.
Tell me more. What do you mean?
Fucking, if you're going to like caretake for me when it comes to that level, it dries up the pussy.
Yes.
Then we got a house full of dried up pussy. And that's...
What a beautiful image.
Yeah, soft penis, dried up pussy. Clip it. Clip that, please.
I think last night, do you remember me saying, I'm in that stage of processing and in the stage of grief where I wish we could go back to before. I know. And it was fleeting and it was brief.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it deserves to be said.
Good.
Because I'm not usually one who's sitting over here saying the ugly parts, right? I know it's like when in the stages of grief, we call it bargaining.
Okay.
That it's like, if only I could go back to disillusioned Lauren, right? I don't want to, truly. And yet...
I wouldn't say disillusion, honey. I'd just say the simpler version before all of the upheaval.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And what you're doing right now, in my opinion, is that you're naming the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're not going on that path. Mm-hmm. It's an option. We're not going to do that. I'm not interested in doing that. Actually, we need to have a conversation.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, I'd need to lead a conversation of that's not okay.
Yep.
To go back to what we had before. So you're naming it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call it disillusion, but that's me. You can call whatever you want.
It feels like that.
This is not the version of Lauren I know, or this is not the Trey that I know. They're dirty fucking words.
Yes.
And it's for somebody else.
Yes.
It's for them to keep themselves safe.
And to keep them from having to grow.
Go back to doing what you were doing, because whatever you're doing now is making me uncomfortable.
Ugh.
Yuck.
There was a moment yesterday in therapy when I was sharing about, the deep fear that fell over my body of, have I chosen another partner who clips my wings? And the emotional landscape of that was really wild, because I knew internally that wasn't going to fly. And it was really cool to hear a person who knows both of us, who works with both of us, who challenges both of us, who sees our commitment and work ethic and curiosity and playfulness and ability to utilize tools that we learn, say to me, and Lauren, I hope you now know that you have chosen really well. I think there was something really deep in me that needed to hear that. Because I think in a core level, I knew I'm not going back. I'm not, right? I am on a path forward that I freaking adore. I love what I have created, what I am creating, what is unfolding, this path before me, these human beings I get to work with and see thriving. Like, that's not going to change. This is all like hell yeses in my body. But what felt incongruent was, oh, I can't have a partner who does that. And was that a me problem, right? Did I seek that out subconsciously? And what she got to say is, no, what would have been a repatterning or a thing we really would have needed to look at is if I had partnered myself up with a person who was unwilling to do the transformative work that you've done over the past week. We all make choices in relationship from shadowy bits, from old scars and old wounds. And yet it is up to us if we want to allow partnership to be transformative. Because it can. Look. Another human being in our space, all up in our business in this way, usually triggers some of our earliest caregiver wounds. Usually triggers some of our shadow characters to come riding onto the scenes. People who kept us safe, archetypes, inner personalities who did a good job at one time. And sometimes, to use Dr. Jolie's words, they need a voice at the table. They get to be here. And yet it is only through the intimate, vulnerable crucible of tight relationship like this that we will ever get to see those ugly bits. Because you and I both have this right? Well, I'll just do it on my own type of thing.
We go to isolation.
We do, both of us. We're like, man, I got this on my own. And that was some counsel that I got from well-meaning friends, right? Just maybe just do it on your own type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to be in a relationship. I get it. I don't have to be in a relationship. None of us are stuck. We choose partnership.
Sure.
And the things that this has shown us, transformational. We will be better people because of all this fucking shit. Mm-hmm. Better people. Softer people. I've seen Trey cry more in this past week than I've ever seen him cry in our relationship. I have seen him be softer, more loving to multiple individuals. Like, you name it, to the baby, to Uncle Jay. I have heard different responses from you that I have never heard before. Is it easy? Hell no. But could it do something really revolutionary in this microcosm that then could heal at a macro level? Yeah. We're watching the fucking Epstein files be released and released and released. And I was saying in bed to you this morning, the answer is not to just to vilify all men. The answer is to continue having more relationships where men can share vulnerably with one another and wherein they can be called to account with one another, where it's safe to share once and then for people to talk about consent and what is good and right and true and shaping up containers, not a world in which men feel they have no other option than to take. I don't think that it's a female responsibility. I need every single fucking person who hears this to hear me. I don't. I actually think it is a straight man to straight man responsibility, which is why I'm also so excited about this season for you, because I think it is led through vulnerability. It's not led by entering in, let me tell you what you could do better in your life. I think it is led by, this is how I fucked up. Can I share?
Can I respond?
Yeah.
To the, did I marry like my father archetype and then my ex-husband?
Yeah.
Did I dupe myself again?
Yeah.
Please review my resume. And then we choose partnership every single day. So you can decouple whenever you want to. I'll fight for you. I won't fight with you or against you. And then say the friend, you said you seek counsel and someone said like, you'd be better off on your own. Do you admire how they do relationships? Like, do you look up to them, how they do relationships, or are they on your level? I don't even want to say that, but like, do you admire how they do relationship?
No, and I will say it was and I encourage anyone who does this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I heard it and I let it go through me. And then I sought out different counsel immediately.
Okay.
My body went,
Yeah.
because of that. And listen, folks, it is okay to have different friends who are great in different spaces for us. Yeah, and it's exactly what I told Dr. Hamilton when we got into space together. I said, I really needed someone who knows the development of relationships as deeply as I know the development of relationships, because I know this is good for me if I can surround myself with the appropriate coaching right now.
Cool.
Yeah. So no, I let that go in and out.
Great.
Yeah. It didn't sink because of exactly what you said. Yeah. I like who I have become and am becoming because of this partnership that we're in. I just do. I prefer this version of me. Not just professionally, relationally, emotionally. Watch the tape. Again, I think it might be really fascinating content someday to go back and watch some of our original conversations, because we were babies, skill level wise. And I think another really wild thing through being witnessed in community, I like how, I say all the time, the World Health Organization says that sexual health is fundamental to the well-being of individuals, families, and communities. And sexual health 100% involves these types of relational struggles and repairs, obstacles, repairs, healing. Because of everything we just said, there was no sexual desire in my body until we got to a certain level of healing. And it's fascinating to me how our families, right, how the baby is benefiting and how our friends are benefiting from watching this. You and I say on this podcast all the time, the reason we're so committed to doing this podcast is we never had this. We never had people working through relational harm together in a way in which didn't continue to wound one another, lead to yelling. We have no example.
I had one example of a relationship that I saw from the outside. I saw from the surface level on the outside of two people, and they were a younger couple, just being sweet to each other and genuinely being interested in each other. And that's all I had. I had fucking one. I didn't know their dynamic. I can go to them with questions. I saw them from the outside, but I had one fucking example that I can think of. I'm sure there were others, but that's the one that always stands out. Can I ask you, because we did come back together physically, can I ask you, and then I actually, can we pause? I need to use the restroom.
Yeah.
Can I ask you how you came there?
Yeah.
Pardon the pun, but how you got to that place? Can we pause?
Yeah.
Hello, it's Trey from the Partnership Podcast. We're actually stopping here. We ran out of time, and we will come back to this later. We didn't plan this, although I do like it. I do like that hopefully you're somewhere not getting what you want.